Hello and welcome back to the Puncher's Chance podcast with myself, Sam Hill, and as always I'm joined by
Tovey
and
Ben Thomas.
In today's episode we're going to be looking at last weekend's fights with Edgar Berlanga and Padraig McCrory, and of course Conor Butler and Jay Harris as well, looking at some audio clips from the world of boxing, talking about a Lauren Price return to Cardiff, and previewing next week's fights, including an event that we're going to be covering live. But before we get into all of that, obviously the weekend's passed. How was your weekend, Harry?
Nice and relaxing for a change. 2 weeks of constant going out on a Saturday and Sunday, but yeah, nice and chilled out. We'll forget about the rugby result. And yeah, it was a decent weekend. Good fights as well to watch.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, nice quiet one. After we were busy the weekend before covering down Brangwyn Hall and stuff. There's still plenty of fights this weekend also. Kept ourselves busy, but yeah, it's been good.
And then, obviously, since our last episode as well, we've had a lot of interviews and more fight content talking to the guys down at St. Joseph. So if anyone listening hasn't checked any of that already, on our YouTube, there's loads of interviews. We talked to Elizabeth Ashoba, the IBO International World Champion. You've got Tosin Kabaya, the
innocent boy,
WSP African. And then you guys spoke to Joshua and James Atkins, who are fighting on the event that we're covering on Saturday. So, like I said, check out all those interviews and give them a watch if you haven't already. But this weekend's fights, we'll start with the Conor Butler Jay Harris because we got just the one fight on that one we're really talking about. What
quickly changed my notes.
What an unbelievable scrap that was. I mean, it was such a good fight. Sort of reminds me a little bit of the Boatsi Aziz fight in a way, where it was the fighter that lost, obviously Conor Butler, never fell out of the fight. But then Jay Harris won the entire fight, sort of from start to finish. I don't know what you boys thought of the performance from Jay Harris. Obviously a Welsh boy as well.
Yeah, it was a good performance, good win. I think the experience and the strength sort of played a part in getting the win on the weekend. But I was probably expecting it to be a bit closer on the scorecards than it was. But Harris done very well and deserved winner in the end, I think.
Yeah, Harris was constantly landing heavy blows and yeah, he was just mainly pinning Butler up against the ropes and he couldn't really do anything, could he? So yeah, the right man won as well, which was good to see in his backyard.
Yeah, he just couldn't keep him off him, could he? He was just too much for him, and for some, was he 34, I think, now? Still got a very good engine on him and just did not stop for the entire fight. It was a very good performance.
For Jay as well, it was the last roll of the dice. If he lost on Saturday, I think his career was over. So yeah, he's back in the World Championship level fighters now. July Yafai, Sonny Edwards, do you reckon they're the names that he should be mixing with?
Never lost a domestic fight, so I think Sonny Edwards put something on Twitter about he'd be happy to have a fight, which would be a massive fight for Jay Harris, and the winner that would go back into world title contention, and probably with obviously Edwards coming off the loss to Bam Rodriguez. But yeah, or Galal Yafai is the other one that you could look at.
Yeah. So
I think one of them two would be the next fight for Jay Harris, I think, and it'd be a pretty big fight, either one of them, if it's his last fight, or whether he wins that and then can go on and have a world title fight.
I think if you've got the British, the Commonwealth and the European, you kind of have to step up to world level. It's all you've got left. And obviously he's fought at world level a couple of times. Obviously he's never been able to get the win in that one. A couple Mexican fighters, and he's come off worse off in those fights. But he lost those fights, but he was obviously close. He got those fights. So I think I'd like to see him jump up and maybe a Sonny Edwards, and I think that fight makes sense for Sonny Edwards coming back off obviously the loss with Bam, and that would be a good fight for him to fight for. But I was really impressed with Harris in terms of I didn't expect him to be quite as good as he was. I think the way he cut off the ring and the head movement on the way in, just the Conor Butler just couldn't touch him really at times.
Yeah,
with the head movement, and it was just it was such an impressive performance. And I think you were saying, Harry, it's a good job it was on DAZN, because I think it's one of those ones that
I wouldn't have watched it otherwise. Maybe
you would have skipped over if it wasn't on DAZN.
Could have done with more coverage, or I think it was nothing on social media for it, really.
No build up or anything
compared to the obviously the fight night out in America, and both fighters talked about after the fight how the flyweight division doesn't really get much coverage. I think that with how good that fight was, it was a perfect opportunity to really put a spotlight on the fighters that are like that weight class.
Yeah, for me, they're a lot better to watch, aren't they, featherweights? And they're quicker, faster, a lot more action in them as well. And yeah, this fight definitely rose the platform of the flyweight division, in my opinion.
I think as well. I mean,
they need more money as well.
It sort of says it's impressive when you remember how big that Sonny Edwards Bam fight was at the time.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that that was a flyweight fight, you don't really see them talked about as much. But yeah, like you say, Joe Harris, he's 20-3. Sorry, 20 or 21-3 now. I think he is.
Yeah.
And obviously he's got the European, he's had world title fights, but he's not really a household name in the way that you'd expect someone to be, who's had that record. So yeah, I think he said it as well, or one of the other fighters said it on the fights before, that they need to start televising these events more and more and putting the flyweight division on show, because if you're a boxing purist and you enjoy boxing, it's a brilliant level of fighting, and it's some of the more technical boxing you'll see, compared to those heavyweights, which obviously are great and huge names, but it's much, much better boxing when you watch it.
Both these men as well work. So come this morning, they're back to work, so yeah, something needs to change there, because the fights are so good to watch. We go on about heavyweight fights being a bit boring sometimes, or like heavier weight fights being boring, but this fight, throughout the entire 36 minutes of fighting, it was non-stop, and it's what fight fans want to see as well, ain't it?
Yeah. Out of the possible options, who do you reckon you should go for next, or what fight do you want to see?
Yeah, I'd like the Yafai fight, and then the winner of that one maybe takes Sonny Edwards, because obviously, yes, Sonny Edwards lost that fight, and he lost it quite convincingly, but he does feel like he's almost a step above that British level at the moment. So he almost the Yafai and Harris could almost be like almost like a eliminator for who gets that Sonny Edwards fight. It would be a good clash as well between those two, I think.
Got the international belt as well, hasn't he?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it would definitely be the Yafai fight that I'd want to see first.
Quite surprised that Sonny Edwards went at the event as well on Saturday. Seems to be at every other boxing event that I seem to watch. So
I
was quite shocked about that.
Yafai's got the WBC International.
Okay.
He's 31, but he's only 6-0 as a pro, so that could be a good clash. Maybe do it somewhere in Wales.
He's a ex-Olympic fighter as well, and so
he's
be a big test.
The brothers, aren't they? Yafai's. So yeah.
Well, he got the WBC International on his pro debut, and then has kept it his entire career, basically.
It's like the Andy Cruz, man.
Yeah, and yeah, that was you stole my segue, but that was a good segue onto the
Before we move on to the American card, I think we should speak quickly about Jerome Warburton as well.
Yes.
Obviously another Welsh fighter this weekend.
Fought on the Sanagar card in the galleries in Bristol, I think it was.
Yeah, went and fought Aaron Sutton from Bristol.
Tough opponent.
He's a I think he's Southern Area champion, is he? And he was 16-0 going into that fight. And Jerome Warburton come away with a split decision there, so that's a massive win for him. The scorecards were a bit...
96-94, 96-95 for Warburton, and then 99-92 in favour of Sutton.
Yeah, that's a bit mental. And Jerome Warburton's
judging.
He's only got the one loss in his record, Warburton, which is out in Spain in Bilbao. Went to a decision, so I didn't watch that fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if that had played a part in it. And he got a draw, I think, and another fight in Spain as well. So in terms of in England, he's always getting the results, and I think he's a good level, and he's an exciting one to watch in the middleweight division, ready to step up. And
he's I think he's the next challenger now for the British middleweight title, which is going to be obviously Brad Pauls and Nathan Heaney, who are fighting on the Magnificent 7 card. I think it's next month. So the winner of that, I think he's going to have that as his next fight, which will be
100%.
Massive. Another big title fight for a Welsh fighter, which was what we want to see.
Could be going into the Dragon's Den then with Nathan Heaney at Stoke City, Bet365 Stadium.
The other thing you could do maybe with it is if Liam Williams did want another fight before he goes and wants a goodbye fight in Cardiff.
Yeah.
2 Welsh boys on the card, you get Liam Williams. I think it would be a tough fight for both fighters, that. And maybe it would be a nice way to sort of say goodbye to Liam Williams in the UK, or in Cardiff, sorry, and then welcome a new up and coming middleweight coming through. But yeah, like you say, it'd be nice to see a Welsh fighter challenging for that, and coming out of the Sanagar as well. It's a Sanagar event we're going to on the weekend, so maybe
a huge Welsh card.
we'll be seeing the next Welsh superstar coming through on that one as well. And the bread maker, his nickname, Jerome Warburton. I quite like that one. It's quite good. I don't know if that's
you and your nicknames again.
That's a good one.
That's a very good nickname. Out of all of them, it's probably one of my favourites.
Yeah, it's a good one. Anyway, as I was saying,
bread make it brilliant.
We'll jump back round. Speaking of people getting big belts on their first fight, Andy Cruz fought on the weekend. He was one that Jared Parry, when we had him on here, the boxing social media executive, he said Andy Cruz is the fighter to watch. He called for him quite heavily. I think he called for him maybe on the 5v5 card. 3-0 now. Andy Cruz beat Brian Zamaripa Rodriguez in Orlando.
Him and his names.
How important or how impressive was that performance from Andy Cruz?
So impressive. Waking up you stayed up all night, didn't you?
I watched the card, but yeah, very good fighter.
Got some stats here. Out of 611 punches thrown by Andy Cruz, 240 landed. Zamaripa threw 247 punches and only landed 34.
Wow. Yeah, that's...
Total jabs, 200 for Cruz, 98 landed. 114 for Zamaripa, only 8 landed. So
I think what's more
total domination.
I think what's more impressive about that as well is obviously Rodriguez was a southpaw, and a lot of orthodox fighters do struggle and they do eat jabs on the way in against those southpaws because they don't expect that lead hand to be so close. But the way that Andy Cruz, his head movement and his footwork to cut off the ring, and then the way as well, when a lot of people fight a southpaw, they're afraid to use that backhand. It almost becomes a jab fest, and you're just jabbing each other because you can't set up. But he wasn't scared to set up that right hand and let it go whenever he had to. It'd have been nice to see him maybe get the finish because of such a dominant performance.
It's 10 rounds banked, though, ain't it?
It's 10 rounds banked, like you say, and I think we're looking at a fighter that towards the end of this year and going into next year has to be challenging at the very top for some of these top belts because he really does look 100%. That good.
Yeah, he's was he gone to 3-0 now? Obviously won a title on his pro debut, but yeah, I think it's just about building up his pro fights, and he was just so good defensively as well. He was, like you said, hardly getting caught with any shots, and with the switching up the levels of his punches, constantly to the head and to the body. Zamaripa just didn't really know how to defend against it. I don't think he just couldn't, no matter what he was trying to stop, he was just finding a different way to sort of attack him, and a very good performance. Yeah,
I think it's easy to say, he's 3-0 and we need to build him up as a fighter, and we do to a degree, but it's easy to forget this guy's had 140 amateur wins. This guy's, I think he's 28.
He's technically a professional, ain't he? He just didn't do the crossover.
Yeah, he's 28 now, so he's had a lot of fights. He's seen a lot of boxing, and you can tell he looked so comfortable in there. It looked like
he was laughing.
Yeah, he was just having fun at times. There was, he was just very loose in there, and it was impressive. And I can't pick a name out off the top of my head for a lightweight fight, just because I think
Keyshawn Davis.
That's the one a lot of people are talking about.
Rematch from the Olympics.
The next one they've got lined up for him is Mexican Angel Fierro. So he's ranked one above him in
number 3 in the world.
But
he's 22-1-2, mine.
Yeah,
Angel
and he fought Azama Rapia in his last fight.
Good fight.
So I think it's just build. I don't think they want to, as good as he is, they probably don't want to rush chucking him in with the fighters at the top of the division, just sort of get all the quick fights straight away. I think it's a good idea to build him up, get another couple of fights under his belt, and then he can look for title fights maybe the end of this year or the start of next year possibly.
I think we can all agree though that Keyshawn Davis will not be next for Andy Cruz. He's talking the talk, but he won't walk the walk, will he?
They won't do our fight yet. No. I don't think they need to. The both of them need to build their name a bit more, and you obviously when
it's got history though. So
for people who watch boxing a lot, I probably would be happy to see them to get in a ring now. But you still want to build the names of the two of them up a bit before I think you stick them in against each other. So you've got a good crowd for it, and everyone wanting to see it.
Yeah, I think fair play. We've got to give our props to Jared as well, because it was a name that had, it was a name I knew, but it just kind of slipped under our radar a little bit, and we hadn't.
I've never watched him fight before.
We hadn't really watched him fight
Saturday.
until Jared obviously picked him out as that name to watch, and I mean he's pretty good at nailed on. I think that's
he knows his boxing.
When that's a fighter you really should be watching if you haven't already. And then the main event was obviously a big fight. Edgar Berlanga, Padraig McCrory. As Harry said, I'll let you do it. There's somebody's O has got to go. Sorry, I was wondering what the hell you were trying to get me to say. I was going to say it, and then I was like, you know what, you get annoyed every time I do because I steal it and I never deliver it right. Somebody's
O did go as well.
Somebody's O did go. Padraig McCrory got knocked out in the 6th. What did you make of the fight as a whole, Ben, and as a performance? Just because you stayed up for it, obviously. I've watched it.
You had a lot to say about it as well afterwards, are you?
Yeah.
Clown.
I got a bit of stick for it.
You did?
But
what's his name?
I was tired at that point. I'd been up. It was 5 in the morning. But
bloody excuses, man.
I still think Berlanga done well. He done what he needed to. Like, obviously, it was part of the fight, so it was a bit
dirty,
but that's for the ref to get a hold of the fight in it. And he started slow. First 2 rounds, I think I thought McCrory might have had him.
I had McCrory winning. I did.
Yeah, the first 2 rounds, I think he had the first 2. But once Berlanga sort of got the range and worked out the distance for the jab and started using his jab, he took pretty much control of the fight from that point, and then obviously in the 6th round stopped him. I was thinking with the stoppage, it come late in the 6th round. I think it was 10 seconds after the fight, so I was surprised that they didn't give him a chance to maybe get up and get to the corner to give him a minute to see if he could bring himself round. But
the towel came in as well, didn't it?
Maybe it was the right choice on it, because he could have got up and got hurt worse than what he was. But yeah,
I think he looked seriously hurt when he dropped and his legs went, and I think it was you could say possibly, and if he had come back from that and got an amazing win, then it would be an iconic performance. But also, you've got to protect these fighters, and I think it was probably the right decision to be made at the time.
He was losing the fight, weren't he? As the longer it went on, the more he was going to get punished, and I think he took his mind off the fight as well, McCrory. He kept on talking to the referee. That's twice now, low to the body and all, so maybe that played a factor. But yeah, Berlanga, he's something special, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he gets Canelo Alvarez next, because that's a huge fight. Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Should be made next. In my opinion.
So I mean, I'll jump us straight onto our first audio clip, which was Eddie Hearn talking after the fight. He mentioned about that, about Berlanga, and then about the possibility of getting that Canelo fight, and whether or not that's a fight that Edgar Berlanga would want.
It was incredible, and that's exactly what he needed. The statement performance. He's mandatory now for Canelo Alvarez's title. He's number 1 with the WBA. It's only a matter of time. Canelo Alvarez, the greatest fighter in the sport. He wants to be and challenge himself against the greatest fighters in the sport. And listen, maybe there is one more. But I tell you now, if the call came, he wouldn't back down. He wouldn't run around the ring to try and survive for 12 rounds. He'd stand and fight with Canelo Alvarez. He'd give the fans a great fight. And that's what people want to see.
So obviously Eddie Hearn was pretty emphatic in the fact that he said that fight should happen and that they want it to happen. But do we want to see that one from a Canelo point of view over the likes of Jaime Munguia, David Benavidez, that obviously he's been linked with recently?
I don't think we get that Benavidez fight now. I don't think, in my opinion.
No. I think the Berlanga fight looks the most likely next one. And I don't know if you've seen with Canelo this morning's left.
I was going about to say.
Gone. I think he's going back.
He's going back. So the rumour is, yeah.
I think they're setting up. That's going to be the next fight by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think it was inevitable that was going to happen. It'd been bubbling over for a while. There was issues with the money and getting his guaranteed $35 million that he wants for his fights. And also in terms of getting those fights like Benavidez and like Terence Crawford, and those fights that people have bounced around that, they weren't just ever going to be able to make. And maybe someone like Eddie Hearn at Matchroom, and, if it takes his excellency to to step in and help make it happen. Maybe that's the answer.
Well, then he's meant to be fighting, when's it now? May 4th. So it's only a couple, what are we on now?
Well, they seem to have
3 months away.
They seem to have a
2
fight
months.
planned for May 4th before this fight happens, so whether he's got another fight planned before he fights Berlanga at the end of the year.
Give him Mangia May 4th. What a period of boxing mine as well. Around after this weekend. Phew.
Yeah, this is the last weekend. We've kind of got a bit of quiet, a bit of...
That card, the card in America as well, was quite important for like the future of boxing, because there was 2 like title deciding fights on it, with Shakram Gyasov is going to be the WBA welterweight challenger now, and Antonio Vargas, when he beat Jonathan Rodriguez, is the WBA bantamweight challenger for Takuma in a way.
He
fought
fought
one of the brothers.
Yeah, he fought this weekend, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He fought Friday night, I think it was.
Imagine that, a Noe versus a Noe.
That could happen. It could happen. I don't think it will, but it's possible. Yeah, it was a good card, that one, actually. To be fair, when I caught up on it, it was a decent watch in Orlando. And this audio clip, this next one, I thought I'd include it because the weekend before last, we were meant to have Usyk Fury. Obviously, it didn't happen, so we've got to wait for it now.
Back to counselling I go.
But it gives
just
us...
put us down, put the mood down a bit there.
Yeah,
you boys were meant to be singing American Pie this week.
No, not a chance. But it gives us another excuse to talk about it because we've got some more time, and it's been a little while since we have talked about it. So this was Dave Caldwell, who's a Sky Sports analyst and boxing trainer, talking about...
trainer of Tony Bellew.
Yeah, talking about what he thinks about the fight, or one particular niche about the matchup.
I don't think he necessarily will come in as heavy as what he has done. Because of the size of Fury, if he comes in heavy, trying to negate that size that he's giving away, for the amount of weight that he's giving away inside, I think it only hampers him by coming in heavier anyway. Takes away his speed, his legs. His legs' sharpness is more important than anything. Because he's going to need those angles, he's going to need those legs for taking away, making Tyson timing and range just miss that little bit. I think he's a really intriguing fight.
So obviously a lot's been put into the weight of Usyk or the weight difference between Usyk and Fury, and I think the reason I included it was because it was an interesting, different take than we've seen. A lot of people are talking about how heavy Fury's going to come in, or how heavy Usyk's going to come in, but actually, will Usyk just stick to him and do what he does best, rather than trying to play up to Fury's, what makes Fury good? Yeah,
well, looking when the fight was first announced, I thought Fury's best bet of winning was coming in heavy and using the weight advantage, but he seems to have slimmed right down and is going to look to outbox him and be probably a fit Tyson Fury, but I don't know if there's a heavyweight out there that will be quicker and fitter than Usyk.
Andy Ruiz
maybe.
Jr. maybe. Back in the day, maybe.
I think the thing with Fury is he is slimming down, and it's about getting that balance, isn't it? He still wants that size and still wants that weight over Usyk, and they're almost both probably trying to fine tune to this perfect level, but also they're guessing what the other one's going to be like, and it's
a chess match, ain't it?
Yeah, it's such.
Who's going to make the wrong move?
The chess match has started before the fight has even started, and if they do get in the ring and whatever result happens, there is possibilities of a rematch. People are talking about that. Then you've got another thing of, then Usyk's going to go, I need to come in heavier if he loses, or Fury's going to be saying, I need to come in heavier or lighter if he loses. And it still is an interesting matchup, and
it's a bit concerning though. Fury coming in light, because when he fought Otto Wallin, he came in very light, and his father was not happy at all, was he? And he got a massive cut. In my opinion, Wallin outboxed Fury that night. Didn't win, but yeah, it's a bit concerning. But I think Fury still has enough power behind him to stop Usyk, because Usyk is weak to the body. Simple as that.
Do you think
Turbiev stopped him with a body shot? Dubois, in my opinion, should be a world champion with that, a low blow. And then Fury, just aim for the body. Don't dance with him. Aim for the body.
But if you do aim for the body, then
you leave everything else open.
Then you're dropping your hands quite considerably, and against someone like Usyk, who is quicker than you and does work with the angles so well.
Yeah, but Fury's got the reach. and all. So, come on now.
But everyone's got the reach on Usyk in the heavyweight division, and it hasn't been enough for anyone to beat him yet.
I mean, this is the fight that none of us are going to agree on.
No, never.
Never.
But what we can all agree on is it's gonna be a brilliant fight whenever it happens.
Fight.
And
let's just hope it happens.
And you boys, I'll be sending you over the American Pie words for you to sing.
That's fine. It's fine. You better get get Ukraine on your Duolingo, lad, because you're going to be singing that one.
I won't be singing nothing. I'm just letting you know.
I'll do it. That's fine.
You won't be singing. Oh, if we have to do something else then for his punishment.
I'll take the singing. It's fine.
I've backed Fury from day one as well. Can I say this man by ear? He's like a tennis. He's going back and forth. He doesn't know.
Oh no, I picked Usyk. But
you're on the fence, aren't you? You're half and half on the fence.
It's going to be close.
And then
just say a draw, maybe. Then you don't have to sing either song.
Another thing that I'd almost forgotten about because it's been so long since it's been announced, the 5v5 that we're finding out what's going to be happening with
next week
at the Fury and Ngannou, and this is Eddie Hearn just giving us a little bit more about some of the fights, some of the fighters, some of the format that we're going to see with that one. Obviously, with it planning on being announced at the Francis Ngannou Anthony Joshua press conference.
We will just put out our best available fighter from that weight class. So you see, if Yard fights Buatsi and I choose light heavyweight, they've got to find another fighter at light heavyweight to fight Craig Richards if he's our pick. Yeah. If Nick Ball beats Vargas, we've got to put forward our best available featherweight to fight Nick Ball. Could be Ray Ford as WBA champion, could be Josh Warrington, could be Maurizio Lara. It's a fantastic format. But the aim is that you don't, and we don't know until we get to the press conference at Joshua Ngannou, and you'll know the picks, but you won't know the fighters.
So it's an interesting thing that they give a bit more detail into it. So obviously we know that Eddie's picking 2 weight classes, Frank Warren's picking 2 weight classes, and His Excellency's picking a weight class. And the idea is that they don't know what the other 2 are going to pick, and obviously they don't know what His Excellency's going to pick. But when he does, they just put their best fighter forward, basically. And it seems like there's been a bit of... Eddie's obviously been trying to work out in his head who he thinks...
It's mind games, ain't it?
Frank Warren's going to pick. Nick Ball versus Josh Warrington, Nick Ball versus Maurizio Lara.
Liverpool versus Leeds.
Do we possibly see this being some of the reason why we're maybe seeing, the likes of Lee Wood, Josh Warrington not get those fights made yet, because Eddie's looking at this event and obviously they've both said they don't want to lose. It was an interesting thing he said as well with the Buatsi Yard. If that fight happens, then obviously that takes away one of Frank's light heavyweight fighters. So then he has to pick someone else.
Fighters. Anthony Yard.
So then maybe Eddie Hearn picks light heavyweight because it's an interesting chess match.
So does Eddie Hearn then knows what weight categories he's choosing, or are they just going to turn up, flip a coin, whoever gets the right call picks the 2 weight categories, and then Frank Warren takes light heavyweight.
So Eddie Hearn knows which 2 he's going to pick.
Okay.
Frank knows
so
which 2
like
he's going to pick.
On the day they have to.
His Excellency knows which one he's going to pick, but no one knows what the other 2 are going to pick. I'm sure His Excellency knows what Frank
heavyweight for him. It must be a heavyweight.
You'd think he would be putting heavyweight, considering, but I think he'll probably wait and see what Eddie and Frank do, and then pick the final one.
Are they going to name the fighters as well on Fight Week?
So you don't find. We won't find out the fighters now.
They're just going to say the
They're
weight
just going to
classes.
find out the 5 weight classes, and then obviously
it'll just be a thing of everyone speculating what fights are going to happen.
I think
that's the best part about boxing.
I think we will be able to work out kind of what the fights are going to be. If like Eddie said, they are very much just going to go for their best fighter forward.
It's a smart thing from them, because they could they could say, these are the 5 weight classes. Everyone then is going to put their opinions forward of what fight should be made, and then they can just pick the best ones and go, we knew what ones we wanted to put together, and then they just put a brilliant card together that they know people are going to want to watch.
For me, Nick Ball, Josh Warrington,
hell of a fight.
It wasn't one that we necessarily thought about hugely, but that would be fireworks. When it gets to the big fights, Josh doesn't shy away. He almost loses all sense of tactics and he just goes for it. And Nick Ball's got power.
He's got a tough fight coming up.
Got some serious power. And like I said, it's a big if he gets past Ray Vargas. But God hope he does, and that could be a brilliant fight. Or even Maurizio Lara's, caused
but imagine
Lee Wood
this,
and Warrington some problems.
Warrington and Ball opening the card.
Yeah,
Come on.
that would be something special.
You know you're going to have, what would it be, with those 5 fights and Padraig, you're going to have 6 very good fights.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Hopefully we get that for $18.99 as well.
Good.
Being a subscriber to the Zone. Do you see that last week?
Yeah.
We don't have to pay $19.99 now for the pay-per-view next Friday.
Get
we
our
get
pound off.
a pound off.
Sam's getting it half price.
Yeah, probably. If I bring him up.
Bloody James again.
And then another interesting clip, and this one, which I actually saw this morning on my way here, which is why I've included it. It was Sky Nicholson talking to DAZN, and they got her to build her sort of dream boxing card, which obviously we've done a bit of. So I just thought it'd be interesting.
Not a bit of. We've done a lot of. A very big amount.
But it'd be interesting. It's just interesting to see what Sky Nicholson would like to see. She's got main event, co-main, and then an undercard, and then arena, and an announcer as well. She goes for.
With the main event,
I think it has to be AJ Fury.
yeah, the fans will thank you for that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, what about the co-main?
Co-main event. Me versus Serrano for Undisputed, I think. That'd be
That
a
is
nice
a
co-main.
good co-main. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, one undercard fight.
I'm excited for Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron 3. So let's put that on there.
Okay. Where would you have it? What venue?
I would have to say sold out Madison Square Garden. Definitely.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience.
Good choice. Okay, what about ring announcer?
I know like people would say like for the dream event you'd go with Michael Buffer, but for me, it's David Diamante. He's the man.
Yeah.
Yep. We're putting him in.
Nice.
Yep.
So obviously at the end there,
David Diamante.
Harry's best mate's
My
getting
best
a shout
mate.
out from Sky Nicholson. But I mean, that's a fair card. To be fair, you could question marks about Madison Square Garden being the
that's
right,
too small for that size.
and
of
especially
a card.
being the right fight to see AJ Fury and Chantel Cameron, Katie Taylor. Maybe Wembley or somewhere like that might be a bit more. But she just said, I think she was just saying that Madison Square Garden full has got the best
That's where she wants to fight.
atmosphere. How good a card? How well has she done? If that was on our podcast, what would you be saying to Sky?
I'll pay for it.
You'd pay and watch?
Yeah.
How much?
$18.99.
18, is
The
that
Zone pound off.
That's your limit, is it?
Yeah.
What about you, Ben? Do you reckon that's a good card?
Yeah, I don't think you could really beat that, could you?
No, it's pretty good
much
going.
The best fights you could put out there, the minute.
Yeah.
Just change the
AJ and Fury is the
venue.
one we definitely want to see in there at some point.
Yeah, just change the venue to Wembley
Yeah.
and
No, Principality.
Principality. Yeah.
Principality. Punches chance get press
AJ
access.
and Fury in the Principality.
Could happen.
It could
happen.
in the winter. You know, December next year.
True.
Indoor arena.
You never know. But yeah, I thought that was an
Promoter Ben
interesting
will have a
one.
word.
Speaking
with,
of
His Excellency.
a big fight coming to Cardiff, Lauren Price,
Yes.
Boxer, have said they haven't. I don't think they've officially said, but it's almost come out.
rumoured.
This is via KO Cymru that Lauren Price is coming back to Cardiff. April the 20th is the due date, and also it was said that Ben Whittaker's going to have a Birmingham card, so maybe he finally gets that Louis Edmondson fight because he will be main eventing that card. It's got to be a big fight for that one. But we'll talk about Lauren Price because we banged on about it for a long time. In the Promoter Point Arena, be her first fight back in Cardiff in Wales
Forever.
as a professional.
Yeah.
How big a thing would that be, and how big is it that it finally might be happening?
About time. She deserves it, you know.
It's mad how they haven't done it already.
They'll realise when they come, when is it, April 20th, when they come to Cardiff, they'll sell out in minutes. And then they'll realise that what they've got is a product that they could... I reckon she can do the Principality Stadium when she's a bit bigger.
Depends on what fight you're going to put on, but yeah,
She'll sell it out.
definitely, she could definitely do some good numbers in Cardiff, I think.
Just great to see her fighting in Wales. And hopefully we get the opportunity to watch her live.
I mean, it's a shame, obviously, well, not a shame, I should say, but she's obviously with Boxer, and you've got the big names like Gavin over with Queensbury, so you may be less likely to see a complete Cardiff. I'm not sure where Cordina is with off the top of my head. Matchroom. So that's a little bit of a shame. It's unlikely you're going to get, all of those guys coming to Cardiff at the same time in the Principality. I think you would need other big Welsh names to sell out the Principality, or maybe just a bigger name, a bigger British name. I think she's big, but I don't think she's quite big enough for the Principality just yet. But like you say, it's just daft that they haven't
Cardiff
done it
City
already.
Football Stadium could be another one. Former player.
True. Oh, of course, yeah, she was at the academy there, wasn't she? Yeah, you could do it.
Wasn't she a footballer for like 6 years and then she made the move over to boxing? It's a really good story, that.
I think she's done kickboxing as well. She's done it all.
Wow.
She's done it all. I was reading an article about her on Wales Online not
Where's she
too
from
long
again?
ago. Minnock.
Well done. He knows
There
how
we
to
go.
pronounce it now.
There we go. I've been practicing on
The
my housemates
Englishman
from
in
there, so
Cardiff.
we're working on it. We're working on it. And then next weekend's fights, we've got some big fights on there. Obviously, we mentioned we're going to be going to an event as well, and we'll leave that to the end, and we'll talk about maybe some of the fights that we're most excited for on that one. But Jake Paul has an event with his promotion. Is it VIP? No, that's
VIP, most valuable promotions.
Oh, MVP promotion. So VIP's Josh Warrington and stuff. So up in Manchester.
The VIP.
Yeah, but MVP Amanda Serrano versus Nina Menke on the main card, which is obviously for the IBO, WBA, and WBO featherweight on the Saturday 2nd in Puerto Rico. We'll get onto Jake's fight later, but as a main event, and you've got to give hats off to MVP for what they've done with Serrano so far and how they've treated her. How good a fight is that to see, and how nice is it to see her main eventing an event?
Great fight. Just a shame it's not 12 3-minute rounds. She's back down now to 10 2-minute rounds.
Yeah, I think that was inevitable though. I think unless it's a big fight, that she's not going to get paid to do, as they say, paid enough to do that.
Yeah, very
I
true.
reckon if they get the Katie Taylor fight,
Oh,
they do that as 12
100%.
3 minutes.
They have to. Saudi Arabia would be right on top of that.
I don't know if Katie
Depends-
Taylor would want to do it though.
It depends on if Katie
Really?
Taylor, I think, is better at 2-minute rounds, isn't she?
I think you'd be playing into Serrano's hands if you were to agree to that. It could be a power play. You
They
could
do
say
12
That's the
twos.
biggest women's fight, though, if they do that.
yeah,
Ever.
without a doubt. Yeah, 100%. But obviously this one she's got at the moment, Nina Menke 18-3. Obviously Amanda Serrano 46-2-1. So there is quite a big jump in the records. Nina Menke obviously number 1 German featherweight, number 4 featherweight in the world.
But she was ranked number 2 by the Ring magazine as well at featherweight, so good fighter.
Yeah, she is a good fighter, and I think we all expect that Serrano is going to win that one. But
Yeah.
you never know. You never know with these things. She's the Intercontinental,
Homecoming as well, ain't it? To Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico.
which will be good. And obviously, we spoke to Elizabeth Schober last week, and she said she wants after those world titles. I think she said she wanted the WBC this year, after she's defended her IBO International, I think it was.
She got the WBC silver as well.
She's got the WBC silver, and then she wants the WBC, which is what Sky Nicholson is currently the holding, I think. So that would be some fight. Elizabeth Oshoba versus Sky Nicholson. Obviously, Sky Nicholson wants the Amanda Serrano fight. If she gets that win, then whoever gets it gets it. It would be some fight, but we'll stick to Serrano for now. How excited? We all excited to watch her fight? Are we all gonna be staying up for it, or is it a watch it in the morning job on DAZN?
I think I'll be watching it Sunday morning with my Cocoa
It's
Pops.
early hours of the morning again.
Yeah. You'll be staying up, won't you?
I
Little
don't know.
night owl.
I might do.
Did the night shift
Yeah,
again.
but will have come back from the Vale.
Yeah,
You have an hour
It'd be a
off.
long day of...
An hour off and then back into boxing.
Yeah, we'll be knackered.
To be fair, I don't think that Jake Paul fight is going to last very long, so I might have an earlier night. But
Yeah.
True. We'll jump over to that Jake Paul
Moving
fight.
on to the crap fight.
Jake Paul, Ryan Borland. It's a year ago today. Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury.
Today?
A year ago today, yeah.
Wow, what a stat.
Thanks. I
Was
literally
Jake Paul robbed?
Do you know what? I saw it on Twitter while I was having a piss, literally before we started recording. I was on my phone and it said, a year ago today, Tommy Fury
It's
and
bloody cheating, man.
Jake Paul. Hey, it said it in Saudi, obviously, in Diriyah, I think it was.
Diriyah.
Yeah.
It's Riyadh, but
Yeah, so
the outskirts. Or
Jake
something.
Paul versus Ryan Borland. Is this a fight we're going to go, isn't it going to be a tough fight for Jake Paul? Are we going to do that whole bollocks, or are we going to say...
I can't wait to watch it.
I'm really excited. What a fight. Fight of the year.
Are we doing this bollocks, or are we going to say what it is? That
It's so bad.
Jake-
It's going to be done
terrible.
in the first round, isn't it?
Jake Paul has
100%.
picked out a man that, obviously fought as a cruiserweight in his career.
35 years old. Former Golden Gloves champion. Record of 17-2. But the veteran has only fought once in the last 6 years, having stopped Santario Martin in September of 2022. Santario Martin also lost to a certain who?
Ooh.
What month of the year?
Tommy Fury.
No.
No. It's worth a guess.
What month?
Andre August.
Andre August.
Did he?
So this is where they're picking him from. So Andre August lost to him, so that's the step up for Jake Paul. And then whoever beat Ryan Boland is the next step up for Jake Paul. It's probably the way they're going.
Possibly. The other thing with... I actually said that he fought as a cruiserweight. He fought a number of times as a super middleweight. and often as a light heavyweight. He didn't fight that often at cruiserweight in his career. I think he was more often a light heavyweight, so he's jumping up in weight.
Have you seen the highlights of Ryan Borland though on YouTube? The fighters he's fighting. The guy's tiny.
I've seen the training footage.
Oh, he's shocking.
He looks really slow on the pads, really, really slow on the bag. It's going to be...
I won't do a better job, mine, but come on, Jake. Get a tougher opponent, for God's sake, man.
We've said it before.
I feel like it's getting a bit stale now, isn't it?
He's not making any money from this, though. I think this is something important to point out as well, that I saw in an interview. He'll be donating his entire purse from Saturday night to his charity Boxing Bully, so he is doing something right, but if you put that to a side, the fight itself is just terrible.
Just need to get him back in, but like the Tommy Fury type fight, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just the
But
one.
he's building up to becoming a world champion, ain't he?
Yeah, but it's not going to happen, is it?
It's
Well,
not-
you don't... Okay.
Absolutely.
I had my
Like,
question. Underneath
if
my
you put-
notes, I've got...
You could put any half-decent cruiserweight from around the UK in against him and they'll fucking batter him.
I think the problem...
Can you see... Alright then. Can you see Jake Paul being a world champion one day when everyone
No.
else is retired? No.
No.
He wouldn't even win an area title.
No, Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury,
Like
who had
Imagine
a closer fight against KSI, who is not good enough to be a world
No.
champion. He lost.
I can't see him being a world champion.
He only got to points to
He's furious by you.
No, so imagine putting him in with like Vidal Riley.
He'll get
Like,
battered.
Vidal
He'll get battered.
He'd
Yes,
seriously hurt him. Like,
Tommy.
This is why he's fighting nobodies.
Tommy
This is why he's
Fury-
fighting
like,
nobodies.
in terms of where he's at, like his level, he's a good fighter. But like the fact that people speak about him as if he could get in there with any
I agree.
half decent, like actual cruiserweight is
Delusion.
mad.
Yeah,
Delusional.
it's not happening. It's absolutely not happening. And like I said, he lost.
Like
he lost.
influencer boxer, he's good.
He's the best at that. I
But,
can
like,
agree with.
Yeah, just like you can't. Like the thing of him fighting for world titles.
He might be
is just a
Texas
joke.
champion, but
Well, he beat Andre August, so he could be Texas. He might be a small area title, but yeah, it's the fact that people say that Jake Paul is going to become.
they don't know boxing, do they?
Yeah, it's not
Come
happening.
on,
Like look at the cruiserweight champions who got them in it.
Crispin, yeah.
Chris Bellum-Smith, Richard Riakporhe, Jai Opetaia.
Like
Listen,
imagine
chuck him in with them and get him back.
You got Bivol.
Let him get battered by him.
You got Bivol and Beterbiev going to jump up to cruiserweight soon.
100%. He's definitely
imaginably.
going to be world champion then if Dempsey
Yeah.
come up.
Exactly.
Bloody hell.
Exactly. Yeah, mental. But anyway, Jake Paul's happening.
Jake Paul's going to win.
Yeah.
He's gonna win first
Yeah.
round.
First round knockout.
Well,
okay.
what did I rank him as my
You ranked him as number 2.
second best?
So he's good.
American
According to
boxer
you, he's
on
world
the-
champion
on
already.
the blind ranking.
God, that one hate of mine went for you.
It was just your burner account, lad. Don't pretend anything about that. Yeah, interesting one. But like I said, we're probably going to miss that one, or I'm definitely not going to be staying up for it because we're
I won't
down
be watching it.
at the Cardiff Vale Sports Arena for a Sanagar boxing event on the 2nd of March.
You're forgetting a fight
unfortunately-
night as well.
Of course, I am.
Sam Eggington.
Sam Eggington
Yeah.
fighting Abbas Baru in for the EBU European Super Welter in Telford International Centre.
That's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah. Eggington's going for a 2-time European champion, so he's going to be doing what Jay Harris did, he's trying to attempt to do as well on Friday night.
It's a good chance for him if he wins that as well. Put himself back into probably world title contention. He obviously lost the IBO title in 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if he wins this weekend, there's a chance to push him back into those sort of fights. But it's a tough fight this weekend. That Barrow's only been beaten once, and that was by split decision. So he's never been stopped.
And he made his American debut last time out, so against Hugo Noriega last month in, I want to say Colca. Or was that the fighter he might have fought?
I'm not sure.
It might have been the fighter that he lost to.
I don't know. But yeah, Eggington, he's impressive.
Yeah, he lost to Jack Colca.
He's fought at
He's
fought
fought
some big
everywhere.
fights.
Pay-per-view, big cards around the UK, and he's now on Channel 5 boxing for free.
Yeah, yeah.
But I reckon it's better to fight on Channel 5 than it is to fight on Sky, because there's more eyeballs on you, because it's free.
Yeah, quite possibly at that level.
Yeah.
And
I
he's
thought
had
you meant
the,
he would just fight him for free again.
No, he's not fighting for free.
Just
He's a
generally-
Wasserman, so they're definitely...
generally IBO. He's had the IBO. Well, he had the IBO World Super Well. He had the WBC Silver. So arguably the European is a step back from his highest points in his career, and
Should be a walk in the park then.
as
maybe.
he's building up. He's lost to Liam Smith and some big names. I think he goes into this one the favourite. I think.
I don't know about that.
Just for me,
Look at the records.
yeah, he has had a lot of losses in it, which is in his career, which is slightly concerning. But like I said, he's lost to some big fighters.
He's consistent about being active, Sam Eggington.
It's going to be a very good fight. I think it'll be a close one. I'm not quite sure how it's going to go.
Don't sit on the fence. Come on. We forgot to do predictions the other week, so we need to keep doing them. Try and do a tally of
Ryan
who gets them right.
Boland. I'm going Ryan Boland.
Ryan Boland.
I think
Jake Paul's not. That's why Jake Paul ain't going to become a world champion then.
I think Sam Eggington for me is who I'm going to go for, just because I think he's had that many fights.
Back the Brit.
I think he's had that many fights. Abbas Baroud, looks like a good fighter, but he's only had the 15 fights compared to.
It is probably a step up for him as well.
Compared to the, I think 40 odd fights that Eggington's have. I just think he's going to have the
too much.
Yeah, a little bit too much. And also that, like you said, he made his American debut, Barrow, in his last fight, and before that was his first fight outside of Germany, or outside of, I think he fought in Austria once, but he fought at the York Hall. So he hasn't had a big event. I think this is going to be another fight for Sam Eggington in many ways, whereas this is a sort of career fight for his opponent. So yeah, that's who I'm. And what are you going? Are you back in the Brit as well, Harry?
Yeah, 100%. Does he stop him? Maybe. I hope he stops him, because Channel 5 fight nights.
Good stoppage sort of percentages. So.
I think I saw an interview this morning. He said, I don't think they'll see the final bell. Also, can we point out as well, Gennady Krovjeski, 67. Yesterday he was 66, 0-66. So he's fought 66 times, lost 66 times. Yesterday, at the Oldham Arena, he beat Ryan Broughton to win his first ever professional fight.
Wow.
So he's now 66. No, I'm doing the Australian cricket year. He's 1-66.
Wow, what a career.
Fair play to him. Does his job though, don't he? Being a journeyman. It's a tough job.
You've got to respect it, and it's a part of it. Without it, we wouldn't have as many, big fighters. They might have, been tailed off earlier in their career because they're fighting, these guys do them a favour, and yes, they get paid for it, but it's an important part of the industry. You can't say no.
He's got something in common with Jake Paul as well. He took Tommy Fury the distance.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he? I didn't know that.
So,
but who hasn't taken Tommy Fury the distance?
Everyone. Have you seen? We haven't talked about it, but social media boxing for a minute. He's calling out Mini Minter now. He's meant to be a professional, ain't he? He should be looking for Vidal Riley and all those names. But
he called out Mini Minter because he dissed his daughter's name.
Yeah.
But if I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but it was a daft name. It was a dumb name.
Bambi.
Right, you make sure you clip that.
No, I don't.
He's going to come after you.
That's fine.
Punctures Chance podcast.
I know
have John Fury on the phone.
I know when we see him on BoxRec, we point out the fun names, but that is a daft name. Why are you calling your kid Bambi?
True.
I don't know. It's just you can't get annoyed at him for saying it's a crap name. I mean, his mate.
It's like an episode of Loose Women.
But then again, Mini Minter's mate Bazinga's obviously called his daughter Olive, and that's a daft name as well.
But he's named her after food. That's the joke. He has. So
whereas Tommy's named him after a deer. Anyway, we'll move on to that. The Cardiff Vale Sports Arena.
John Fury's ringing me
down there on the second. Some really great fights. Unfortunately, we lost the main event. Ryan Pocock versus
Ethan George,
which was going to be a big fight. Ethan was then hopefully maybe going to fight anyway, and I think possibly they haven't been able to get an opponent for him, which is a shame. But
they haven't got an opponent for him because the rematch is coming up very soon.
There's still some really great fights on there. I thought we could just pick out a couple fights each, or a fight or so each that we wanted to that we thought was an interesting one. To jump off of it, the first one I think for me, Joe Morgan fighting against Lokesh Dangi. Joe Morgan's only 21. He's 6-0 as a fighter already. He's fighting the Indian boxer Lokesh Dangi's first fight in the UK.
Where do they find these people as well?
I guess they come over as a group because there's another Indian fighter, and I saw an Indian fighter on a card this week. So I guess those guys have come over to get some fights in the UK. But he's one that I'm really excited about. He fought in the Motorpoint Arena on the Cordina undercard, along with obviously Ben Crocker was on that card as well. It was a matchroom card. He looks really exciting. I mean, 6-0 at 21. If you're that young and you've already got that record, you've seriously got to start looking. And I think he's going to be knocking on the door of some big events in the future. Particularly if he can obviously get past this one. What about you, Harry? Have you got a fight that you think people need to keep their eyes out for?
Moses Jolly, 7-0.
Yeah,
his last 2 fights he stopped his opponent via TKO. Hasn't got an opponent yet though for Saturday night, but yeah, hopefully he starts stepping up now and potentially gets a shot at the Welsh title later this year.
Yeah,
he's 28 years old. Nickname The Native.
The Native, yeah. I've seen him on Instagram. I think he's got a brand all around it. He looks like a serious fighter, Moses Jolly.
Right. He'll be fighting if he does get that Welsh title fight. When was the last time the heavyweight Welsh title?
1989.
There's some history there.
It's got to be fought for.
I think
has to be 1989. Bloody Ben the stat man there. The
yeah,
historian.
It's good. We're getting those Welsh titles fought for, and that's a good thing.
And
obviously.
they should get rid of the name. It's Welsh not the area. Welsh area title, it's the Welsh title.
I noticed recently as well, it's the Scottish area title.
It's ridiculous.
It seems bizarre.
So why ain't the British title or the English title the English area title?
I know, it is daft. I imagine because when the English and British were made in the late 20s, early 30s, Wales probably was considered more of an area by the people who were making it, the Brits. Well, it was English people that were making it. I'm not saying that's true.
No.
No.
Right, watch yourself when you walk out of here.
No, but if you walk to the people who were going to be making the rules back in the 30s,
true,
they probably saw Wales as an area. Whether or not it wasn't, but it that's what they would have thought. That's why it would be.
Bloody English boys speaking.
And the British Boxing Border Control aren't known for being particularly modern and forward thinking and fixing old rules. So
Welsh fighters and Welsh coaches.
Yeah.
British Boxing Board of Control.
Big fan. We won't go into that one in case.
Can I name another one as well? James Atkins.
Yes,
5-0. I would say he's a step up in opponent with Stefan Vincent. Obviously, Stefan's 2-11. I think he fought this weekend as well, Stefan. But yeah, great to see James fighting again. Obviously, in his last fight, he fought a certain Naeem Ali, and at the end of it started kicking off.
Was that his last fight? I thought that was his first fight. I thought
that was his last.
Debut.
I think that was his last fight.
I thought it was his pro debut. Was James Atkins? But there's an interview with him up on the channel. Yeah, you're right. It was his last fight.
Yeah, it was the one in November.
One again in the Vale Sports Arena.
I don't think he's only fought in the Vale Sports Arena and maybe the Swansea LC2
and the Galleries Bristol, which would be another. It would have been another Sanagar card.
That looked a good venue, mine. On Saturday.
Yeah, it did look nice, but yeah, it's an interesting one. James Atkins, Stefan Vincent, one of the ones with an opponent, so it'll be nice to see.
That's why I picked it, to be honest.
And then what about you, Ben? Another fight to pick out.
Joshua John's fight. He hasn't got an opponent yet, but also we spoke to him in the week down at the gym. He was training hard. He's dropped a weight class, not a bantamweight, I think it is now. He's fighting in it, so he's got aspirations of titles. He's obviously fought before for Celtic title, and his last fight was a European, WBO European against Brad Strand, who's unbeaten. That was a York Hall last year, and didn't get the result that night. But yeah, he's looking at building himself up for challenging for bantamweight title, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets off on the weekend.
Yeah, it was interesting. I spoke to Josh just after when Harry was talking to James, and I think he was saying he would be, that was a rematch he'd be interested in. Obviously that he lost in York Hall on the undercard of the Gwyn Marsili fight against Brad Strand, and I think Strand's got a fight coming up to defend Dennis McCann. Of course, yeah, he's fighting Dennis McCann for that one, which will be a tough fight. And if he doesn't get through that one, I think Josh was pretty confident that he could go back in there and get the result, which would be a nice one to see. All of these, like I said, obviously with James and with Josh, both those interviews are up on the channel. And then the last one I'm going to shout out is Conor McIntosh. He's the current Welsh title holder, beat Nathan Howell for the Welsh title. 6-1, fighting another Indian, but he's a really, really good fighter, and there's an interview with him up on the channel as well. But yeah, really, really great fighter and a really sound guy, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to a lot of these guys this weekend and get some more content. So keep your eyes peeled for all of that. And other than that, have you boys got anything else you want to say on the podcast, or we...
It could be our last podcast before we hit 100 subscribers. Hopefully this time next week we'll be sitting here for our 100th subscriber episode.
True, fingers crossed. Anything special planned?
I heard that Yeah,
We could
Ben's paying. Oh yeah,
Ben's paying, is it?
Yeah,
Cool.
sounds
promoter
fair.
Ben.
Yeah. So yeah, we if you haven't already, obviously hit the subscribe button. Why not? We're knocking on the door, 91 subscribers. So subscribe. We've got plenty more content. Welsh boxing, world boxing.
It's going to be
everything's
very
coming.
busy couple of probably months from this
yeah.
weekend onwards. With
The
The end of April is looking very busy.
He's looking to, and do you know what? So we've got April 20th. We're hopefully at Llanelli. The 27th, we're hopefully at the top tier show, which Ben Crocker's fighting on, and Lindsay Bashinsky's fighting on there as well.
Commonwealth.
And then the week after that is May 4th, which is the final weekend of the championship, and I'm going to hopefully be at Leeds, Southampton, at Ellen Road. So by the end of those 3 weeks, I am going to be flat out done
Watch
for sport.
Leeds get a playoff place. Like,
Oh yeah, is that it? Yeah.
Were you singing "I Predict a Riot"?
I was
Thought
absolutely.
I saw you and your dad with your tops
You
off.
probably did. You probably did. To be fair, the video where it cuts across, just on the right hand side of that one there. But they had to cut it off because there were some guys in front of us like stood on the things like beefing with the stewards, so they had to cut that out because they can't really put that on the Twitter.
Leeds.
Anyway,
See that.
that's a nice little detour. Like I said, check out all the YouTube content, or if you prefer, just listen to our full episodes on Spotify, on Twitter. We do all the announcements. We are also now, I'm not going to plug this every single time because I'll be out of breath if I do this every week, but we've got an Instagram account where we post some reels and stuff on there, as well as the TikTok. So there is near enough not a place you can't find the Puncher's Chance podcast now. So get
Free
to
Views made a
searching.
return as well.
Yeah, on the Twitter and on the Instagram. They're everywhere.
You posted on the Instagram as well.
I think Ben did.
Oh, thank you.
Someone did.
Yeah, it was
Thought I had a lot more viewers.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, thank you all for tuning into that one, and we'll catch you all in the next episode, and obviously this week with some more fight content.